Imagine for a second that I walk up to you and offer you your dream job opportunity. The one problem, you don't quite meet all the qualifications. Of the women in this room, only 50% would take that opportunity without hesitation. A recent study found that 1 in 2 women say they feel uncomfortable putting themselves forward for new opportunities at work. 1 in 2. As of June 2021, only 8% of Fortune 500 companies have a female CEO. There are a lot of contributing factors, but I believe that women are more likely to wait until they have all of the qualifications before they advocate for those top leadership positions. Another report revealed that men apply for jobs when they meet 60% of the qualifications, while women will not apply to that same role unless they meet 100% of the qualifications. Since 2020, women have become 12% less comfortable asking for a raise, compared to men at 8%. As I saw these shocking statistics, a thought occurred to me. What if women began pursuing opportunities before they felt 100% ready? What if they chased after a dream role, even with 50% of the qualifications? The more we exercise our readiness muscle, the more women we will see sitting in the C-suite and changing the corporate narrative. I was 6 years old when on a particular day, I was in the mood for a competitive game of Candyland. The problem was, this game was stored high up on the shelf above our family boombox where I couldn't reach it. I've always been fiercely independent and very strong-willed, and I decided it made more sense to get the game myself instead of asking for help. So I start climbing, and let's just say the Candyland mission was not accomplished. Instead, I find myself in the doctor's office getting a hideous boot placed on my foot the day before my dance recital. And the next thing I know, the doctor's telling me that I would not be able to dance in the recital the next day. I vividly remember getting back to the car and in pain, and my mom turned around and faced me in the back seat and gave me the choice. I could sit out tomorrow, or I could dance through the pain. It would have been easier and far less painful, but I was a headstrong 6-year-old. So there I was the next day, boot and all, dancing my little heart out. I didn't care what the performance looked like. All I cared about was that I was on that stage. And that boldness to go after my dreams didn't stop at that recital. And I realized when we're kids, we always feel ready for new opportunities. We don't hesitate because we think we'll fail or because we're worried what others will think. We just go for it. When you were a kid, did you find yourself going after your goals with this type of optimism? At what point did that change? See, as we get older, we become more hesitant to go after our goals. We wait until we feel more ready before we venture into unknown territory. And a lot of times, it's the fear of failure that holds us back from achieving those dreams. But today, I want you to give yourself the freedom to dream through the fear. Just because a dream scares us doesn't mean we shouldn't pursue it. When we fear failure and we try to avoid it, we fall into this never-ending cycle of perfectionism. Perfectionism tells us that we don't have what it takes, even when we're fully qualified. It tells us that there's someone out there just a little bit better than us, and we need to keep revising until we get it right. Perfectionism tells us that no goal is worth chasing unless we can be 100% sure of the outcome. Perfectionism kills confidence and tells us that we aren't good enough as we are. In the book, The Confidence Code, researchers spent time analyzing what confidence is and how we can get more of it. What they found is that the number one thing that inhibits confidence and success is perfectionism. They said that perfectionism keeps us from action. We hold back until we're perfectly ready and perfectly qualified. Does that sound like some of you? When I started my corporate job, feeling ready began to take on a whole new meaning. Exiting my comfort zone and starting this new chapter had me feeling a bit overwhelmed and caused me to want to blend in instead of stand out. I remember on a particular day chatting with several of my friends as to whether or not we'd ask for raises after our first years of employment. Can you guess the responses? The men in the group were shocked that I was even asking the question. Of course they'd ask for a raise. The worst their companies could say is no. The women, however, said that they did not plan on asking for a raise. When asked why, they said that they didn't feel ready, they didn't feel qualified. And I thought, if my female peers are hesitating to go after these opportunities, maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe I shouldn't be this bold. Maybe I'm not actually ready. And so I put my head down, put in the hours, and pushed my ambitions to the back burner. It wasn't long before I became part of the statistics, and I found myself hesitating to push myself outside my comfort zone. I would hesitate to raise my hand in meetings. I wouldn't ask for a promotion because I felt like I should be grateful for what I was making right now. I refused to pursue dreams outside my day job. One of the dreams I had was public speaking. But like many of you, I came up with every excuse in the book as to why I shouldn't pursue this dream. I don't know that I'll be any good at it. I'm afraid of what people will think. I'm afraid of failing. I don't feel ready. I reached my breaking point in March 2020. After a particularly stressful week, I began to reflect on where I wanted to be in 5 years. And I realized I had two choices. I could continue operating like a rat in a wheel, letting dreams trickle in, trickle out, eventually retire. Or I could take action today. I could start living the life I knew I was made for, regardless of the outcome. I was so convinced of the notion of failure's not an option, so don't even try. But I realized that failure does not mean you're a failure. And you know what? Failure is an option. And it's proof that you're further along in the journey than all of those that dreamt out their desires, but never took action. The more we act before we feel ready enough, the more evidence we're building up next time an opportunity comes along. For me, this right here is a ready enough moment. In 2016, I told my roommate my big, bold, so crazy that it scares you dream. I wanted to give a TED Talk. In 2019, I applied to my first TEDx event. In 2020, I applied to 6 more. In 2021, I applied to another 8 events because, like I said, I'm very strong-willed. If you're doing the math, that's a total of 15 rejections. In 2022, I applied to another 3 events. I was 8 months pregnant with my son when I got the email that my big, bold, crazy dream was finally happening. We can all think of one dream that we've pushed to the back burner. But it starts with being honest with ourselves. Take time today to reflect on your goals and envision your ideal future. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the power of tiny steps that lead to big change. He defines atomic habits as a regular practice that is not only small and easy to do, but a source of incredible power. What if, by activating our readiness muscle, we're preparing ourselves for the next big opportunity? How different would our world look if the women in our workplaces, our schools, and our communities went after their goals before they felt 100% ready? How many women would realize their untapped potential just by taking several baby steps? If you want to start a business, start by purchasing a domain. If you want a better job opportunity, start by applying to a single job. If you want to be selected for bigger projects at work, start by raising your hand in the next meeting. Today, I do not want you to focus on being 100% ready or 100% qualified. I just want you to take one small step towards that goal. Today, I want you to say yes to opportunities and believe you are ready enough to achieve your dreams. So, let me ask you, are you going to sit backstage until you feel 100% ready? Or are you going to get up on that stage and dance? Thank you.